Blue Ridge Wildlife Center, where they are rescuing and rehabilitating wild animals in our area. Paul Raffel is out there, and we're going to check in with him in just a little bit. Stay with us. Fox5's Paul Raffel joins us now live from the Blue Ridge Wildlife Center, where they are giving those animals a second chance at life. Paul.
Hey guys, yeah, it's really interesting. It's one of their busiest times of the year. It is the busiest time of the year, actually. More than 800 animals will probably come through, be rehabilitated, and then released back into the wild. They're doing great work here, and I'm going to bring in Dr. Belinda Burwell to talk about the work that you do. Thanks a lot for joining us today. So talk about this center and the work that you guys do.
We're a wildlife conservation organization, and our primary activity is the rescue, rehabilitation, and release of injured, orphaned, and sick native wildlife. And during the summer months, when all of our native wild animals are having their babies, we get just loads of orphans coming in that need our help.
So that's why it's so busy, because all the animals are having their babies at the same time. Yeah. So what kind of animals come through here?
Well, we have many orphan baby birds. We have the songbirds like the warbler that you showed. We have a chimney swift. We have robins, phoebes, mockingbirds. We've also got birds of prey. We have orphaned owls and hawks. And then we have orphaned mammals. We've got raccoons and foxes and possums and rabbits and squirrels.
All sorts of kind of. So how do most of the animals find their way here?
Generally from the public. They find an animal that needs help, either on their property or as they're driving. We also get animals that come in from animal control and the police, and they come from everywhere.
And the one thing we were talking about before is it's really important that the people who find animals bring them to a center like this and do not try to take care of them, right?
Yes, yes. The Virginia Department of Game and Inland Fisheries does not allow you to have wildlife without a permit. So they do need to come into us and be taken care of. They need special foods, they need special care, especially if they're going to be released into the wild again.
And speaking of the special care, I'm going to come talk to Amber, because she's now feeding the birds. So what kind of bird is this one?
The one that I'm feeding right now is a young robin. And we have a couple other birds. We do have another robin. We have some young phoebes and some mockingbirds right here as well.
What is the concoction that you do feed? It looks delicious, by the way.
Well, this is a diet made by Missouri. It's a nestling bird formula, and it has a very high percentage of protein in it, because these birds grow very, very quickly.
And so can you kind of teach me the process? And let's reiterate, at home, you do not try this at home because you need an expert. So, but I will try because they let me do things like this.
Yes.
so what would the process be?
Basically, if you can just kind of stimulate them to open their mouth. This one, you can try him over here.
Oh, he's not hungry. Okay, and then all the way down?
Yep. Very
good. Look at that. Success. So guys, yeah, later in the hour, we'll actually learn more about the other animals. What other animals do you think we'll get to talk to?
We're going to actually show you some of our orphan baby bats and talk about bats.
All right. Excellent. That's a little creepy, but that should be fun. And we're also going to learn about a summer camp that they have for kids going on pretty much every weekend from now till mid-August. So that should be interesting. And we also have all the information on this wildlife center at myfoxdc.com. Guys, back to you.
Yeah, didn't kill the bird. That's good.
And a little later, we're live at the Blue Ridge Wildlife Center, where they're rescuing and rehabilitating wild animals right here in our area. Stay with us. We'll be right back. It's 8:20. Plus, we're going to check back in with Paul Raffel, who's out at the Blue Ridge Wildlife Center. Paul.
Hey, Tony and Steve, check out these guys. They're gray fox kits, which is a baby fox. We're here at the Blue Ridge Wildlife Center in Boyce, Virginia, meeting some of the animals that they help out. Over 800 come through each summer. Stick with us. We'll learn more about the work they do, some camps coming up, and also meet some bats. Stick with us. So, yeah, kind of explain, are there different types of bats? I have no idea.
Yes, we have about 17 species of bats here in Virginia. Wow. They are all insectivorous, meaning they only eat insects. None of them suck blood. And they're very valuable to our ecosystems. A single bat on a summer night can eat thousands of insects.
Wow.
And right now their populations are threatened by a new disease called white nose syndrome, caused by a fungus that will kill hibernating bats, and it has killed hundreds and thousands of them. So
what are you feeding them? Those are insects, I guess?
Yes, yes. So these are all orphaned babies, and these younger ones over here are still getting formula. And then those older ones over there are learning to eat insects. They still have to be hand-fed.
Delicious.
At this point, their moms would be handing them insects. So but pretty soon they'll be eating them on their own, and then we put them in large, actually put them in a large tent outside. They'll learn to fly. And then we
how long until you release them?
Probably another 6 weeks.
Gotcha. Well, great. Well, thank you for all the hard work you guys do to help these animals. We'll have information on our website about the camps if you want to send your kids to the camp. And later in the next hour, we're going to meet some more mammals, maybe some baby rabbits and a skunk. Hopefully, I will not get sprayed. I don't know if they spray at a baby's age, but I might be coming back smelling a little funky.
Just don't tell any bad jokes and you're safe, Paul.
If you do get sprayed, don't come back.
Steve, you're being hard on me today.
Thanks, Paul. Also, move over, Dr. Doolittle. Paul Raphael is talking with the animals this morning.
What is he saying?
Hey, Tony, yeah, they're not talking back. I am trying to make some friends, but we're at the Blue Ridge Wildlife Center in Boyce, Virginia, learning about all of the things they do for these little guys during the busiest time of the year. So stick with us, find out if this skunk, he seems shy, hopefully he won't spray me. Steve?
It's the wilder side of the animal kingdom. He's at the Blue Ridge Wildlife Center. That's coming up next. Keep it here. We'll be right back after the break.
9:46 right now. Let's check back in with Fox 5's Paul Raphael. He has gone a bit wild this morning, touching his inner wild side.
Yes, he is hanging out with some wildlife at the Blue Ridge Wildlife Center this morning. Have we said wildlife enough? Now, hey, Paul, I know you're going to be dealing with a skunk now, and I've had a skunk before. They love it when you tickle them. Go up to it and tickle it.
Yeah.
Actually, well, Steve warned me not to say any bad jokes because I might get sprayed. So we actually put the skunk away because we thought it might be impossible for me not to say a bad joke. So I am safe on that front. But anyway, this is the busiest time of the year for the Wildlife Center. They actually have 75 orphan birds right now and 90 mammals. It's so busy that they actually had someone come and bring birds while we visited this morning. One of the most interesting animals that they have that we actually couldn't show live is a bobcat. They're actually trying to make it more wild, and they don't want it to be comfortable with humans, so they kind of have their own secluded area. So I'm going to bring back in Belinda Burwell of the center to talk more about some of the interesting animals you have. So tell me about the rabbit that we just showed before the break.
Well, this is one of the orphan cottontails we've raised, and it's ready for release. And one point I wanted to make, we do get a lot of calls about small cottontails in the yard that look like they still need their mother. But this bunny is independent. It's ready to be released. They leave the nest at a very young age and small size. And you know, this does not need to be rescued.
Right, and one thing we do want to reiterate that we've kind of been talking about all morning long is do not try this at home. Do not try to raise wild animals, even if it's a bird. And why is that important for people not to do that?
Well, for a couple different reasons. One is they do need special diets. They do need special care. They need to be kept wild. They need to be familiar with their own species, so we always raise them with members of their own species.
Like you do with the bobcat, you put a real cat with them because you didn't have two. So it's really important that you raise them with similar or its own animals.
So they know that the bobcat's going to know cat behavior. These raccoons are going to know raccoon behavior. We don't want them bonded to people. We want them bonded to members of their own species.
And one of the myths we wanted to debunk was if like a human touches a certain animal, like a bird, it's not going to be rejected by its parent, right?
Right, right. That's an old wives' tale. The parents will take them back.
Okay, and if people do find these animals, what's the best thing to do? Just call the center right away?
Call us, yeah. And what we try to determine is does the animal truly need to be rescued? Is it truly an orphan? Does it have an injury and it needs help? Because many times, as we discussed with the cottontails, they're actually just fine. Or also sometimes fledgling birds will seem as though they need to be rescued because they're on the ground and can't fly, but actually they're just fine. So call the center. We can give advice.
Okay, let's talk, Amber, tell me about these specific raccoons that you have that are absolutely adorable.
Well, these 4 came in last week, and what happened was their mother decided to make her her den in a factory, and the people noticed a raccoon there, so they went ahead and trapped it, which, by the way, is illegal unless you do have permission from the Department of Game and Inland Fisheries. So they trapped the mother and they moved it, and then a couple days later they heard these guys crying. So that's how we ended up with them.
So how do you treat them? So you obviously feed them, and then what's the goal to get them back into the wild,
Yep,
correct?
and they'll be with us for a while. They'll be here for quite some time. But we start them out on a special raccoon formula made to mimic mother's milk. We do eventually wean them onto solid foods. Then they do spend more time outside as they get bigger, and they learn, you know, raccoon behaviors, and they learn to become very scared of us. So it's quite
right. That's
quite
another thing I think is really important. Like, you guys make them wild again. They're not going to be comfortable with humans when you release them, correct?
Right.
So that's a very important message. All right. Well, thanks so much for having me today. It was great. For more information on the center and also the camps, that if you think your kids would be interested to visit this, will be on myfoxdc.com. Guys, back to you. Really interesting, cute and cuddly stuff today.
It's a great opportunity. That's great, Paul. Thank you so very much.
We want to see a closing shot. You and the skunk.